The solution to the enigma. The number 666 is a code name, a cipher for the constellation of Ophiuchus and its apocalyptic era. In the distant future, on March 21, 8260, the day of the vernal equinox, the Sun will enter the era of the infamous 1313th constellation Ophiuchus, situated between Sagittarius and Scorpio. This constellation thrusts itself almost violently into the path of the Sun, severing its trajectory and disrupting the harmony and order of the 12-sign zodiac wheel. Ophiuchus is the only constellation in the entire sky that can be divided into three distinct parts. In astronomy, it is treated as a single constellation that is visually bisected by the figure of a man. A terrestrial observer indeed sees three parts, two separate lines of stars, the serpent, emerging from the man's hands. If we look at Ophiuchus and the serpent, it is a constellation divided into three separate sections. 1. The tail of the serpent. 2. The central part, which is the man. And 3. The front part of the serpent with the head. Each part is composed of 6 of the brightest stars, 666. The right side serpent's head, serpent's caput. It can be traced using 6 key stars that form the head and the upper part of the body. The middle, the man, Ophiuchus, the central torso of the serpent-bearer holding the serpent, can be easily reduced to the 6 brightest stars that form his recognizable polygon, the body. The left side serpent's tail, serpent's coda, the tail of the serpent emerging from the other side of the man, also consists of a series of stars, with 6 primary ones forming the line of the tail. The number of the beast is described as the number of a man, 666 in the constellation of Ophiuchus. We see the image of a man and a beast in the form of a serpent, divided into 2 parts. In the book of Revelation, John writes that people will receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads. This image is connected to Ophiuchus. The man holds the serpent, the beast, in his hand, which can be seen as the mark on the hand. The serpent's body also rises near the man's head, close to his forehead, which can be seen as the mark on the forehead. When we look at these 3 parts, the man and the 2 parts of the serpent, each one has 6 main stars. Together this forms the pattern 666. The serpent-bearer is seen as a man struggling with a serpent. He represents all of humanity holding onto the beast, which is the first sign and the symbol of the enemy. The man is not evil, but he is troubled and surrounded by the serpent. He fights against the darkness, yet he cannot free himself by his own strength. When he is taken over in this way, he becomes like a shadow of the Antichrist, like a fallen angel who wants to control the secrets of life and death on earth. He represents dangerous powers beyond measure. The constellation of the serpent-bearer is seen as an outsider, disturbing the perfect circle of the 12 signs. He is linked with disease and great plagues. His dark influence is found in chaos, poison, and forbidden knowledge. It is said that he brings suffering through temptation, corruption of the heart, and dark practices. He spreads madness, moral decay, and wealth gained through deception. The sea of glass. Before the throne of God, John sees a sea of glass like unto crystal. Revelation 4-6. The Milky Way lies behind Ophiuchus, which John describes as a radiant river of stars, the river of the water of life. In the final chapter, John describes a river flowing from the throne of God, and he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God and of the Lamb. Revelation 22-1. The texts of Revelation mention the serpent held by the serpent-bearer Ophiuchus. The man stands in the middle, between the head and the tail of the serpent. John mentions the dragon because that constellation lies directly above Ophiuchus. He describes it as a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. Revelation 12-3. The constellation Aquila, the eagle, is also mentioned near Ophiuchus. And I beheld and heard an eagle flying through the midst of heaven. Revelation 8:13. It became central to the holy feast. However, the transition into the age of Ophiuchus, the serpent-bearer, presents a profound theological scandal. As the sun enters this domain, it first touches a star belonging to the constellation of the serpent. Breaking from historical precedent, the Apostle John issues a stern warning this time. The faithful must not honor the teachings of the serpent, nor bow before the serpent beast. Unlike the lamb or the fish, the serpent can never have a place at the believer's table. John details the horrors of this rising evil, declaring that any believer who accepts the serpent as their new master in this era shall be cursed. Should a believer, in ritualistic devotion to the serpent, touch their forehead with their right hand, they will be marked by its number branded on both the hand and the forehead. The forbidden knowledge of Ophiuchus. In the book of Genesis, within the description of Eden, Adam and Eve were forbidden from eating the fruit of only one specific tree. Upon that tree dwelt the serpent, who eventually seduced them into tasting the forbidden fruit. A direct parallel can be drawn here to the figure of Ophiuchus. The tree represents the central figure of the constellation of man, inherently good at heart, yet he is entwined by a serpent, possessed and ensnared, much like the forbidden tree of knowledge, while the other trees and fruits in the garden represent the 12 harmonious ages from which one may freely learn. The forbidden tree symbolizes the constellation of Ophiuchus, the forbidden knowledge, and the serpent infiltrating the divine circle. Upon eating, Adam and Eve realized they were naked. They are described as naked because, through this forbidden knowledge, they lost their faith, and paradise ceased to exist for them. The Apostle John warns the faithful that in the age of Ophiuchus they must never heed the serpent's voice. We now see that this error has been a lurking presence since the very beginning. The apple became the symbol of this fruit because the central part of the Ophiuchus constellation is distinctly oval in shape. Writing the Revelation, John knew that the fundamental biblical stories found their inspiration and foundation in the constellations of the sky and the movements of the sun and the stars. In the end, as a messenger of truth, John felt the need for the peace of his own conscience. He felt a duty to pass the truth to humanity, yet not directly, but through a cipher intended for those ready to perceive the truth within the mystery of faith. By solving this enigmatic code, and thanks to John's conscience, we have finally uncovered the mystery of faith and realized the truth that the major biblical events, characters, and prophecies are, in fact, metaphors derived from the movements of the sun, constellations, and planets. The apocalypse, however, does not mean the end of the world or the total destruction of the planet, but rather the unveiling of the religious secret leading to an apocalypse of faith. Now the saying is clear: as above, so below. As in heaven, so on earth this time. We take this saying literally. We astronomically observe changes in the celestial vault and compare them with beliefs and events on earth. These are stories you aren't supposed to know.